It's Jedi Alliance on the Popcorn Talk Network. Today we've got a huge swath of news to talk about. We just got an Obi Wan movie confirmed, how Starkiller was almost in Rebels, Star Wars VR plans for the Disney parks, the Entertainment Weekly. We got so much stuff to talk about, including a very, very, very special announcement, which we'll bring to you right after this.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk, we talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's Jedi Alliance.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Jedi Alliance right here on the Popcorn Talk Network. We've got the whole crew in town. Let's start the newly plumely. We got
weird.
Alexis over here on the couch. Hi, Alexis.
Yo, it's been a while.
Yeah, it has.
It's been a while.
She has stained our hearts.
No, don't do it. You guys can find me all over the social media at atorres890. And yes,
You should probably update that Twitter.
No, I told everybody I am not changing my name on Twitter.
News to Neil.
Oh,
Yeah.
love for Alexis in the chat already.
I
Man,
know.
that's
Yeah,
all right.
she is a married lady.
Come on, guys.
Speaking of married ladies,
That'll be me.
Michael Young, hashtag don't tell my husband.
Hey, guys, you can find me online at Youngster, which is ONEYOUNGSTA.
Hey! And on the internet's Mark Donica. You can find me on Twitter at Mark B. Donica. All right, so we cited on Twitter. I started the show with it, and we talked about having a big announcement. And that big announcement is that we are going to be ending the show. So really,
Rip it up like a Band-Aid.
yeah, you got to do it like a Band-Aid. You got to do it like a Band-Aid. There are some changes happening here at the AfterBuzz Media Studios, and unfortunately, there are some changes that we, as a team, cannot continue with the show doing. But that doesn't mean that this is our last episode. We've got all this big news that we want to talk about in the way that you know that we can. And next week will be our final episode here on the Popcorn Talk Network. So what we would like from you, and I'm going to say it again at the end of the show in case people miss it, in case people come late. We want your Jedi Alliance memories, whether it's with this team, whether it was with John Roca, whether it was with Joseph Scrimshaw, whether it was with Maud and Ken. We would absolutely love to see your favorite memories. Clip the videos out on YouTube, send them to them on Facebook, get in front of your camera on your phone, send them to us. We would like to share them. We would like to give the show the send-off it deserves, because it has been a heck of a ride here at Jedi Alliance, and we are just happy to have been a part of it. So does that mean that Jedi Alliance goes away forever? We don't know. Ultimately, Jedi Alliance is a product of the Popcorn Talk Network, and if they choose to continue it with some other folks, that's up to them. But this team, as it seems fit, unfortunately, it's going down a path that we cannot follow.
Oh, wow. Really bringing in... Really?
Yeah, I had to do it.
But that also doesn't mean that this group will not do other things
No,
outside
of course
here.
not.
Yes.
Of course
Dude.
not.
Yes, 'cause
Michael.
we've got to get together to
Yeah.
do something.
Yeah, I mean, we did EA Play together. Come on.
Yeah, we're gonna do some more stuff. So please send us those things on Twitter at Jedi Alliance Pod or on Facebook. And we're hoping to get some special stuff for next week, being the send off and all. But now that that's out of the way, we got some big stories to talk about, because dang it, what a week of Star Wars news it was. We got an Obi Wan movie confirmed.
Yeah.
Why now? Like,
Well-
why did it wait 4 like a month out of D23 and Comic-Con?
Maybe they weren't quite sure, like, exactly, like, what they wanted yet, or if they thought it was going to be ready, or I don't know. I feel like they wanted to wait on that just a little bit longer, just to make sure they had all their ducks in a row.
But they still don't have their ducks in a row. That's the thing, is the only thing they might have is a director.
It does feel like they should have...
Maybe they didn't have a director.
Yeah, it does feel like they should have... If they couldn't have made D23 or Comic-Con, that they should have waited to NYCC. That would have been great.
That would have been a big get for New York Comic-Con too.
Yeah. And like New York Comic-Con usually, because it's later in the year, New York Comic-Con usually doesn't get as much stuff as it probably could. So, it would have been great. They probably could have owned New York Comic-Con with that news.
Would have been the news to come out from the
Yeah, because
weekend.
the only thing, New York Comic-Con is end of October.
It's in the fall.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Yeah.
I think it's end of October. They would have. I guess Thor and Justice League will still have a big push there, but that probably would have been the only other thing. They could have really ruled and brought out someone that everybody's thinking of anyway, because I think they already know. And I mean, not saying that you can't do it, But if you're gonna do an Obi-Wan movie, you have to get Ewan McGregor. Like you don't have to.
We don't know what time of life
Yeah,
it is
because I was
yet.
gonna say it could be like the Han Solo movie, or it might be something later on where it might be like he's younger, or
We don't want that.
yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not
Hold on
saying
a
that. I'm
minute.
just saying that could happen.
You're saying that you don't want more Qui-Gon Jinn? You don't want more on-screen Qui-Gon Jinn?
Nah, because you're gonna recast Qui-Gon too.
Why?
Because he's gonna be younger. He's not gonna be Liam Neeson anymore.
Did they recast Robert Downey Jr. when he was a child in Iron Man 3?
Well,
Or whichever movie that was?
Yeah, I know what you meant.
Yeah. They use that digital tech to de-age them.
make him young again.
Also, he does not look old.
Or you could just
I mean,
be
true.
Liam Neeson. Liam Neeson could just be one of them people that always look like an old man.
Yeah.
all the time.
think
Like, how old are
fine.
you? I'm 19.
It'll be fine.
Oh my god, can you imagine? No, I think that would be really awesome.
Same
to
voice,
have him
too.
there.
Same voice.
That
Hi, Master Qui-Gon. Hello, young boy. Just super
man.
deep voice.
Oh, jeez.
The director that may be attached to it is Stephen Daldry, who he's known for Billy Elliot, which is crazy, but also he did The Hours and The Reader, which have all gotten Oscar acclaim, and
He's got skills.
I think
he's
that,
got some skills.
just to say the least. So I think being attached to this project, if he does end up doing it, adds that big picture, I would say almost Ron Howard-esque feel of, are they going for an Oscar with a Star Wars movie? Because this could be, because Alec Guinness was a huge player in class as a classical theater actor. This could be even more of a player where this could be like a traditional film.
Okay, well, since Disney, focus on Disney. Look, since you're early on, let me go ahead and pitch this to you. I know you got a story group and everything, and that's fine. Just give me a call. Look, what I need is a story directly after Episode 3, with everybody hunting Obi Wan down, and him fending people off until he can finally hide out in Tatooine.
Okay.
Obi Wan on the run. I think that.
Obi Wan on the run.
Yeah, I think
No,
I think that could
Obi
be-
on the One.
Oh,
And that's
boo.
I was just made a worse joke.
He'll
I
be
love
here
it.
all week.
But I love it because who said it? I have to go scroll back and chat here. But
Please tip your waitress.
yes, please. King's Portical. Or King's Portical, I don't know. I want Ewan and Hayden as Darth fighting in the desert. So, let's say if they decided to do that, do you actually think Hayden would come back for that?
No.
Okay.
Why
I
not?
just feel like
I mean, Hayden-
I don't know if he can
Is
handle
Hayden-
it.
Hayden, I mean, I think it's been long enough where people are like cool on Hayden right now.
Well, no, but if it's a Darth Vader suit, they don't have to pay a face actor to be in it.
True,
True.
yeah.
Okay.
You can just get like a tall guy and just I guess.
As they've been doing.
True.
Yeah.
I guess.
So it doesn't have to be, but if they do flashbacks for during, if the whole movie is like a Dragon Ball Z situation,
Oh my God.
where it's all one fight,
What? And then
but
just a
in
giant
between are the
flashbacks?
flashbacks.
Yeah.
Shout out to the
Sure.
world's strongest.
Why
Throw
not?
Goku in there, it's fine.
Yeah. It's just Obi-Wan with his arms up trying to
Yeah,
build a
just
spirit
try to make a
bomb.
spirit bomb.
The whole time, and then like deer and geese like falling
Cow.
over.
Thank you.
That was my deer falling over.
That was beautiful.
Let's
good.
move on because we gotta get to the
so much
EW
stuff.
part.
Yeah.
Something that was really interesting. Sam Witwer randomly in a Twitch chat just dropped. Dave Filoni did share with me, by the way, that he did consider making Starkiller an Inquisitor in Star Wars Rebels. It didn't quite fit the story they were telling, but he did think about it because he thought that would be interesting. Didn't
Wow.
quite fit is a understatement.
Yeah.
But
a very big understatement.
But the idea, did other of you play Force Unleashed?
no, but I watched all the cutscenes.
Okay, so
Yeah,
so
same.
by the end of it, this isn't necessarily a spoiler because technically all of this stuff is legends at this point.
Yeah.
But Starkiller, if you decide to go good instead of full Sith, helps create the Rebel Alliance. So having him as an Inquisitor and having him as Darth Vader's apprentice could have still flipped around and made that a part of the canon, just not in the direct
Yeah.
way that you play through the game.
True.
Yeah.
And I think it was probably best because think of all the people that would have been mad and well,
Push
actually,
up those glasses.
in the game, I played the game 5 times through, and I'll tell you, it doesn't work like that. And like Dave Filoni's like, look, it's
Whatever.
okay.
There's some truth to legends, as the one Ahsoka Tano did tell us one time. I mean, would that have worked? Would you have enjoyed that just because of how powerful Starkiller ended up being, or would it have had to have been like, all right, we're using the name of this character and only a little bit of the backstory, and we're going to rebuild him as a different.
I'd say, yeah, I think it kind of messes up because it either messes up Darth Vader's powers or it messes up like the Empire's powers, because you have this one guy who's strong enough to kind of like stop the rebellion on his own. It's not as fair, I guess you could say, on a story standpoint, unless you kind of bump up everybody's powers. But you know, as it stands, if we were going to keep him at least as close to the game as possible, Kanan and Ezra couldn't take him on. Like he would have crushed them.
Yeah, and do you think there would have probably been a little bit more of investment from the fan base if he was the first Inquisitor instead of the first Inquisitor? Even though that came back around during during season 2. Yeah, either way. Either way, regardless.
It did come back around.
It's a silly thing, and it would have been fun, and it would have just given a shout out and added one extra thing from the Legends to the regular story. Whew, boy. All right. Crazy. Anyway, this was something that right before we were going to decide that the show is going to be just a Battlefront Inferno Squad review. This dropped, and I wanted nothing more than to talk about this. Star Wars VR plans for Disney parks. Holy crap! This video dropped recently at the Apple Developers Conference a couple of months ago. You can turn the sound down on that too, and we'll just talk over it. But we've got a little bit of the video that previews some sort of a Star Wars VR experience. Let's take a look at that while they demo it. Now, both Disneyland and Disney World Resorts are going to be offering an immersive Star Wars VR experience called Secrets of the Empire, and that's starting this holiday season. Now, this is coming to us from a VR company called The Void. They were responsible for the Ghostbusters VR experience in New York last year. Did either of you hear about that?
Yeah. Well, I also saw the video that they had on YouTube or whatever. So I was like, oh, this is pretty official.
So they took a space and mapped it to a digital space. Yeah. So when you were in VR, if you were up against a chest-high wall, it was a chest-high wall. If you were up against a wall or coming up to a door, it was a door. So these folks are building are going to be building experience centers, or they're going to be Void experience centers coming to downtown Disney at the Disneyland Resort, and Disney Springs, which is Walt Disney World's version of downtown Disney. It's just so much bigger. But the word is that Disney guests will quote will move freely throughout the untethered, social, and multi-sensory Secrets of the Empire experience in a way that allows them to interact and engage with friends, family, and Star Wars character. Holy crap. This, amazing. Yeah, it looks like a lot of fun. I wonder how much it'll be. The Ghostbusters experience was $50. Yeah. But for this, we'll show an image after we show a little bit more of the video. But it appears that it's going to be K2SO that's going to be guiding folks through this experience on Mustafar, which may be an assault on Darth Vader's castle, or just visiting. Or being like like in Rogue One when he it was like a one-on-one visit, and maybe you're accompanying him, and then stuff goes down and whatever. I see. But either way, Star Wars VR. Oh man, it looks.
That's gonna be intense.
Yeah,
it should be a lot of fun. It should be a lot of fun.
And this is like the only time where I will like totally be on board with something happening with VR at an amusement park, because right now a lot of amusement parks are like, put on this VR as you're on a roller coaster, and I'm like, that is a way to get people to get sick.
Yeah,
that's what's happening at like Six Flags.
Yeah, Revolution.
And then,
gross.
And like, and just stuff like that, or like but I like the fact that you can actually like build stuff and like do things with VR, and you're in just a stable room. Yeah, you're able to move.
So it's kind of. So would this be sort of like AR and VR a little bit? or
Yeah, I would say
Yeah.
a little
like
bit more.
a little bit of both.
The AR would be the real life. I think it's all going to be in VR, but it's going to be mapped to stuff in the real world. So technically, that's still VR.
Yeah,
It's just super immersive.
yeah, and having like Darth Vader there is gonna be cool.
And can you imagine if there was like a costumed, like if there was a Darth
so
Vader in the space, so
you could like touch him.
so
and,
if you like walk by, just he's there. Like some of the stuff is rough.
or you could just go up to the castle and like knock on it with like a big, like the big circle knock thing, and be like, "Is Anakin home?"
And dead, instant death. Something that I got to experience recently is I got a chance. Oh, that looks too scary. I think we can.
Yeah.
We're done with the VR part. No, especially with the lightsaber. Cut it. Get rid of it. Nobody wants to see this anymore. We don't like it. And dead.
And
Paused
Wow,
it. Anyway,
that's
all right.
crazy.
So something that I got to go to Disneyland recently for the first time in a really long time, and the trail behind Frontierland, where all of the entrances to Galaxy's Edge were opened all the way to the entryways, essentially.
Okay.
So the amount of space that they've made sure to dedicate just to the front, essentially the front door of the land.
Okay, kind of like the, I guess, lobby-ish area.
Yeah, I would say lobby. Yeah, the foyer, if you will, if we're getting fancy. Is pretty it's pretty ridiculous. It's pretty nuts. They made sure to have enough space because there are going to be people lining up way outside for long periods of time.
Yeah.
In summer.
Yeah.
It's going to be rough.
Yeah, it almost makes me wonder, like, is it even worth trying to go for, like, the first year and a half? It kind of makes you wonder, like, maybe we should just, like, let it die. But the only thing is, 2 years from then, they'll have, like, a brand new attraction that everybody that went first will then come back for. So it's like you might as well just go in and be like, look, I'm going to have to wait.
Yeah, I'm sure
they're
going
going
to
to wait like 8 hours to get in.
I'm sure
and then hang out for 30 minutes.
If anything, I think that the Void experience centers with the Star Wars thing might be a way to help quell those crowds. If they prove popular enough and it's a certain amount of people having a reservation at a certain time, that gets people out of the park.
Okay.
And queuing in a different area. Now, whether that would be popular enough to move that into the park, I don't think so, because you should keep that sort of stuff, especially with how immersive they're trying to get with that land. I don't know if there's enough space for another attraction, unless they really double down.
Because they've already got, 14 acres, something like that?
23 acres. It's 23 acres.
23 acres.
They've got 2 huge rides, and there is... I say some space, quote some space for our iTunes listeners, but not enough for like a huge immersive attraction. Mm-hmm. So they would have to, because they're right up against like the freeway and no, like seriously, they're right up against the back road. They got rid of a lot of their maintenance centers and moved those in order to get, unless they get rid of Toontown. Like if they get rid of Toontown, then they would have they would have a land's worth of space. So that depends on how successful Toontown can be compared to Star Wars. Obvious answer. But yeah,
can you sell like $35 hamburgers in Toontown? Because I'm pretty sure they're going to be. I mean, come on, we all know Star Wars Land is going to be like, oh, would you like a Coke? That'll be $19.99.
No. But here's the thing.
But it will be expensive.
They won't be selling Cokes in Star Wars Land because it's going to be immersive.
It'll be like the most Eisley soda of the day.
Yeah. It's going to be stuff like that. That's the thing.
The cantina drink.
And by not having brands attached to it, you may be able to price less. You may be able to price more. Who knows? But let's move on to the big EW blowout. We got these beautiful covers with Luke and Rey on them. Oh, gorgeous. Now, we're not going to talk too much about some of the stuff because it does go a little bit into spoilery territory.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
But some, like there were 7 big stories that EW did, and we're We're gonna touch on a couple. We got a chance to. I'm literally just gonna be skipping around. So for those of you in the room who have the notes here, one of the ones, just because it was quick, we got to see a look at the evolved form of the Imperial Guard. The Supreme Leader Snoke's Praetorian Guard.
Yep.
Shout out to you Destiny players out there. But the fact that it went from these super cool looking dudes with giant red cloaks and really strange looking masks and were those shock staves or were
Like
they
kind of like I don't know. I just know they were long, like kind of like lancing
Pikes?
staffs or pikes or something like that.
Yeah.
something like that. Either way, we got this look at these guys that look like samurais.
Yeah.
They look super
super
cool.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and if it's some old dude in a chair, you need guys that can move.
Yeah. Well, I think it's going to
And
be.
gals.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
yes.
Hopefully it's a situation where, and I said this I can't remember when, but maybe like a week or so ago, where, it's kind of like the game Kung Fu. You play the little guys, and then you get to like the kind of bigger guys, and then you get to like the final guard guys, and then like the OG comes out, which is Snoke. And then, because like, remember the old Kung Fu movies, the old guy was always the sickest dude.
Yeah.
Yep.
But he looked like kind of weak.
Like a
He just had
sickly old dude.
Yeah, he had a little robe on. He was just looked kind of regular. And then he got up and he had like the sickest moves ever.
Yeah, he'll mess you up.
Is your shoulder okay from reaching that far?
Oh, I tried.
Did you stretch before?
Big shout out to Spiritual Kung Fu with Jackie Chan when he was younger.
Here we go.
Oh,
we
take
go.
you back.
It
Have
is
that.
warm. It's warm in here. Also, we found out that they're going to be this. There's this.
Yep,
The caretakers.
Nope.
These folks from the island that Luke Skywalker has been holding up on. The caretakers.
Yes.
The fish nuns.
Yeah,
The
sure.
fish bird nuns.
The
Fish
fish
bird
bird nuns. That I assume are caretakers of the order, but we don't know that much about them.
Yeah, or caretakers of the land, sort of. Maybe.
The temple.
But I know it said that I guess maybe that's kind of spoiler. Yeah.
So let's avoid it.
So, yeah. But they're there.
They're there. Deeper look at the Porgs, who are going to take over the
They're
world.
so cute.
Real cute.
Super cute.
We got a little bit of a hint of where Finn is going to be going in the movie, and how one of our new characters, Rose, is involved.
Yes.
Now, is it spoilery to talk about that since it's because kind of like her relationship to him, or should we just leave that?
Well, the way that I would put it is the article goes into a little bit more detail, but Finn got taken out at the end of Force Awakens, and from what we've seen in the trailer so far, everybody's off on an adventure, and he's still hanging back. So he's seeing how everything has. We don't know how long he's been down.
Yeah.
We don't know if this takes place right after the first movie.
True.
Or if we do, we're not going to mention that because that's kind of spoilery.
Yeah.
So how would you feel?
I mean, sorry, I'm just like trying to get my mind all in there.
Yeah.
Curse UAC. I mean, I'm just excited that we actually get like a new female character, whatever.
Well, two technically, because her
technically.
sister's in there.
Yeah, which is awesome. So like the fact that we get like a really cool like sister duo is awesome. So I'm not really like looking for anything.
I don't care about Finn. Just give me more Rose.
Yeah, it's kind of where I'm at right now. I mean, but I'm also happy that he's just not written off. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not like, oh, he's actually gonna be down for like half of this movie.
It's
You know
not
what I
like the original draft where Poe was supposed to die, and they're like, well, he's alive. Someone's got to die.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So like I'm really
We must pay tribute.
because that's what I was afraid of when Finn went down in oh my god.
Force Awakens.
Thank you. 'Cause I wanted to say The
TFW.
Last Jedi, and I was like, nope. But the fact that he's not down for the count. I love that he's going to be back up, and the fact that he has to deal with kind of like a whole new crew.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm really excited to see where their adventures lie.
And I hope they're not the island of misfit toys.
Yeah, because that would suck. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah, because we do only have, say, I don't know, like 2 hours and some change to tell this story. So, well, I mean,
I would
assuming,
hope for some change.
well, yeah, we're assuming, the usual runtime, like say 210, 220 maybe.
Something like that.
Something like that. And
Post credit scene.
yeah. And because the article does talk about his state of mind in the that we come into, can we touch on that or no?
No.
Okay. Well, all right. Well,
Let's
Finn
not.
is there, and there's going to
Hey.
be 2 other people.
I mean, yeah, despite the announcement at the top of the show, we're maintaining this integrity until the end, man. All right.
Doing it.
Then the main story. I mean, it was on the 2 covers, Rey and Luke, and how Luke has been feeling. If you just the look on his face, because you didn't say nothing. The look on Luke's face when Rey held up the lightsaber was like a. Not again, sort of a thing. So we can imagine that, he's got this girl going, "Hey, can you train me?" And he's like, "Oh, I wanted to be done with this."
Yeah, he's like, I want to be doing other things, not babysitting you guys. And he's
But
gonna
he's
realize,
not
Gotta
but he's not
meditate.
doing anything. And I hope someone calls him out like, dude, we needed you. Like, nobody cares about your meditation or your island or hanging out. Like, there's things to be done. Oh, she took it back to elementary school on that piece.
It's good. Smart.
But
Get it.
but it's like, I hope someone calls him out for that, because when you're a hero, you just need to be a hero, regardless of how you feel. This is your power, and with great power,
Oh,
I'm not gonna end it. Not gonna end it. Okay, comes great responsibility.
there it is.
And you
love
are
Daredevil.
the one to because I mean, think about it. He has to be like the hero. Like,
Yeah.
Leia and Han and Luke have to be like the heroes by this time. And for you to just disappear, and it's almost like it's similar to How to Train Your Dragon 2, when you find out the mom's been alive all the time and they're like, hold up, what?
I'm sorry, bring that back.
Yeah. So when Luke comes back, people are gonna be like, hold on, so you've been alive? Like, you've just been chilling on an island?
Just rocking with-
we're in trouble,
I've
right?
just been rocking with these dragons.
Yeah, just hanging out,
Oh,
Chilling,
God.
weekend barbecue.
Yeah, that's such a good movie. Anyway, watch How to Train Your Dragon 2. Not what this show is about. So now this is a headline, and I'm not going to go too far into it, but this headline being that Leia sees Poe Dameron as a surrogate son. Now,
That is not
Okay.
what I was expecting.
but
okay.
that brings up an amazing what's gonna happen if Ben finds out? What if Poe and Ben have a confrontation where it's like, your mom likes me better, something like that.
Just like that.
And it was, something like that. But either way, just the
Good
subtext of it, of where Leia's treating this guy like the son that she wanted. Especially, and instead of dealing with it, just going, oh no, you're my son now.
Especially because, like, if with fan theories and stuff of the fact that, like, Han knew that this was the only way to get his son more, at least, like, with a show of, like, you have to kill your father in order for you to be part of the dark side, like, that whole theory and everything, like,
Yeah.
he knew that was going to happen. If he's like, okay, I'm actually really good, Ma, you just don't know, and then tries to come back, and then she's like, I found a new son who didn't kill.
I have a new son.
Yeah, and, like, that whole thing. I mean,
He's
again,
a
I don't
really
think
good
that's how-
kid.
but like I don't think that's exactly how the story is going to portray. But that would be interesting to be like, see, Mom, I'm good, I promise. And it's like, it's too late now.
Yeah.
Too late.
And that fan theory that you're talking about, I hope they don't go down that road.
No, I don't think
Like,
so.
I hope they
Fan
don't.
theory.
Yeah.
Oh, Michael, get out.
Nice.
No, but I agree. I know that is a fan theory. I really don't think they're gonna go down that road. But like I said, you also never know. So.
True. Very true.
Well,
I'm interested to see that develop. We just got a new picture of Benicio del Toro's DJ.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I was like, cool. That's great.
If you want to know a little bit more about him, you check out that article, because oh boy, it's a little bit too much.
It's a little bit
You
too
were a
much.
little bit too much.
We also found out that Rey is going to be diving deeper into her family history.
Thank God.
So hopefully we'll find out the parentage in
Yeah.
this one. So it's that's not what's looming over.
Yeah,
Because you go ahead. No, you.
No, because I'm just really glad. 'Cause I didn't want to sit there and be like, all right, we went through that whole movie and we didn't talk about it, so now you have to wait another year for it, or just not bring it up at all.
Well, also there was one of the main things about the first movie was who Kylo Ren was.
True.
And within the first 5-10 minutes, we get that thing of saying of like your parentage and your family and this, that. And then before, I think the middle of Act 2, maybe even sooner, if I remember correctly, it's like, cool, all right, Leia and Han's kid. Great.
Yeah.
Cool.
Right.
Taken care of. We don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So hopefully they do that instead of leaving that as the overarching thing.
Yeah, because and I know there's going to be people that disagree, but I do think that was one of the kind of cheap moments about TFA where it was, or The Force Awakens.
It's fine.
I feel that was kind of cheap where it's like, dude, like, you don't need this. You don't need this to make us like wonder about the movie. Like, the movie can be cool without like another who is my parent or who are my parents. Like, we don't
You are
need,
not the father.
we don't need another one of those. Just like tell us who our parents are so we can move on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it would be a good strategy on their part instead of being like, "Oh, what's this?" And
Who's your parents? Because
No, seriously, I just want Mari to come out.
because you
like,
run the risk of people like me. Like, I really don't care. I just like
I just really want to move on with the
like,
story.
I really just want
Let's
to move on
go.
because once I figured out that they're gonna do. I was like, I figure I think she's Obi Wan's lineage, like maybe a great granddaughter or something. I don't know, whatever.
Great.
You know, or
Great.
Great.
you know,
G hyphen
or like- or maybe
REY
like-
hyphen T.
or like
great.
or like a great niece or something like that. But I'm just like whatever. I really don't care. I just want to.
I just
want
wanna
to see
know.
Star Wars.
Just want to
without-
know.
Yeah, without,
even if it's nothing.
Yeah.
Even if it's nobody that we know, though it probably isn't. Let's just find out.
Yeah, because I feel like we would get through so much story and be like, oh, okay, I feel better now. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of moving on, the other I was wrong. There were 8 stories. My notes are just dumb. We're going to be getting a lot from the dark side.
Yeah.
Apparently, there's not going to be a lot of Maz Kanata in the movie, which is
That's
a little unfortunate.
unfortunate.
Though we did get a lot of her in Forces of Destiny, so
Yes,
there's that.
Which
True.
is awesome, but I still want more of her.
Yeah, so
I'm
make
never
sure
satisfied.
make sure to pick up if you haven't yet. If you want a little bit more information that might be diving into spoiler territory, make sure to check out the Entertainment Weekly articles. Collect both covers. Why not? It's a good time. So the next little bit, we got a photo from Ron Howard from the set of the Han Solo picture. Now, it doesn't necessarily say too much, but if you look at the picture, it looks like a Death Star operator's helmet. So, like the guy that goes boo, and he's got the thing on, and it's that one like single shot of him.
Nice.
It's like that guy, with the caption "The Empire looms large." That's a weird sentence. That's a weird line. But if you take the first word of each of those, or the first letter of each of those words, it spells tell. Now, here's a weird fun theory. Keep an eye on Ron Howard's Twitter. Maybe there will be some messages written in the thing. Maybe not. I'm probably just paranoid.
No.
But I just found it weird that it was everything was capitalized, and it was just an oddly worded sentence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
It sounds like the first couple of words of a crawl. The Empire looms large.
Yeah,
but
it's weird.
I hope they bring the crawl back. I will say that. I hope they bring the crawl back for this one. Nice. Now they probably won't, but I hope they do. But I don't want to sound like a negative Nancy.
Oh no, Michael!
Excuse me, Deborah. Deborah Downer.
What are you doing?
I don't.
I love how you didn't say Debbie. You said Deborah. Her
Deborah.
whole name.
Deborah K. Downer. No,
Oh
but it's like I feel like we don't need the Empire in this.
Really?
Just have Han and maybe like some bounty hunters.
Okay,
maybe
no, I feel you on
maybe
that.
the Hutt family, some of the crime syndicate or something like that.
troopers?
Huh?
No troopers?
Nah, you can do this with like the crime syndicates and him and smuggling and maybe Lando and like you can do this outside of. And I know there's some people that are like can't have Star Wars without the Empire. It's like the Empire can the Empire exists, but he's like on the Outer Rim doing his thing.
I see what you
get
mean.
smuggling stuff and dodging bounty hunters, paying people back, stealing from people, and robbing Peter to pay Paul, and playing, shooting rocks in a dice game, like doing unsavory things.
Yeah.
Sound like a rap video. Stealing something from somebody.
Outer Rim love. Do.
Playing dice with the boys.
Perfect.
Having drinks.
Clackety
Going out
clack.
for the homies.
Clackety clackety. Clackety clack.
Pour some
Clackety
blue
clack.
milk. Pour some blue milk for the homies.
Like, and then Lando,
And then it immediately curdles.
Yeah, no, it'd be gross.
when he first meets Lando, it's like 7.
Yeah.
7.
Scatter.
Check those dice. Lando's got them loaded dice.
Oh my god.
So, I mean, I would like to
What
see
are we
that.
talking about?
I don't know.
I would like to
I blacked out for a
well, I'm
second.
saying I would like to see that instead of the Empire looming large.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, I hope we don't see the Death Star or anything like that. Like, just let us have Han doing crime stuff,
well, yeah,
and sneaky stuff, and like some like bounty hunters, and you know the Hutts and not Black Sun.
No, I just got a really dumb idea. I just wanted to be like Smokey and the Bandit, where the Empire is just like the police presence,
Yes.
where it's just Han smuggling, and you just hear eastbound down, and he's just like, and then all of a sudden, like behind a sign, behind a planet, like a TIE
just
fighter
like,
comes out with the red and blue lights. It's the coppers, like just something silly, like where they have to outrun an Imperial blockade or something like that,
Yeah.
but nothing huge.
Yeah.
No, I don't think we should see anybody of like super importance. It should just be like, hey, you, and then
Yeah.
there's a chase in the middle, and there's an alleyway shot. Wait, no.
Yeah. Like you can maybe mention the
Disney thing.
Empire, like, hey, take this there, bring the money over there, and then come back here. It's like, well, hey, that planet has a heavy empire, empirical presence or something like that.
Yeah.
And then, say that, but nothing like, I don't want to see the Death Star. I don't want
I
to
don't think
see
you will.
a Star Destroyer. Just,
Not even just one. Maybe some death
okay,
sticks.
all right, maybe a Death Stick or two, but no Star Destroyer.
All right, got it.
They better
Maybe
be
the smaller ones, like what are
smuggling
the
death
smaller
sticks.
ones? I forgot the name of the smaller ones, the little baby ones. Little baby Empire ships.
I don't
like,
remember. I know what you're
They're
talking
not the
about.
Star Destroyers.
I thought you
they're
were
like
talking
little-
about death sticks. I was like, what, the Virginia Slims of death sticks? That was a the cools.
Oh man,
Cool.
Never
the
smoked.
schools of the galactic world, or the galactic, the galactic
Terrible
story.
death sticks right
Can I
there.
get some
Talking
cool
about?
milds? Like,
Can I get
Oh,
some mild death sticks, please?
Some of those menthanol death sticks.
instead of death sticks, can I just get like coma sticks? Those are like death sticks light.
Coma sticks, lights.
Yeah, it's like the
Just
death sticks light.
knockout sticks,
Yeah,
know?
just knock you out. Like you smoke this and then like go to sleep for
go.
like a week and then
What
you're
are we
back.
doing? What are we doing right
This
now?
man.
Like
Just
we're like
said
working
coma
out the
sticks.
drugs. Like, hey,
Well, this is such a weird
story
drug
group,
cartel.
call me. I can figure out the whole world building around all of your drugs.
Michael Young
I can,
Star Wars
just-
drug cartel storyteller.
just said coma sticks
it's
and
perfect.
blew my mind.
It's perfect. Be the Narcos of like Star
Is that what
Wars.
we're doing? Han
Yeah.
Solo narco story of the universe.
That could work. That could work.
But that's a 3 season long series, whereas this is going to be about 2 hours.
Is Jabba part of that?
Yeah, Jabba's got to be like.
It's got to be there. I mean, this might be the dead.
I would think so.
No, that's too soon. That's
way
too
too
soon.
close.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless he's been running for a long
I
time.
mean,
Yeah.
you never know.
All right, the last thing that we want to talk about, it's a super short. Just because there's no information on it, but Lucasfilm and EA announced that there's going to be a game coming out called Rise to Power. It is a upcoming mobile strategy game set in the Star Wars universe. There are no details and no release date.
At all.
But you can sign up to get into the closed pre-alpha. So it's not even in the alpha stage, but it's super early on. If you want to feel like you can be, you want to help build this game, it's heavy. It's probably going to break a lot. But if you're a fan of strategy games, highly recommend it, especially if it's got Star Wars attached to it.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. I'm not super big on strategy games, so I'll sit the bench on this one. Sorry, guys.
I guess.
But if you have a first person shooter
Heavy
or maybe a
side.
cool platformer, a old school platformer, call me up.
A Mario platformer?
Yes, on your phone.
Like a cool like
Port
like the
former?
Mario run of Star Wars.
Wow.
I don't want an endless runner for Star Wars. Actually, one that would work for an endless runner would be an endless scuttler. If it was,
Oh, yeah.
if each level was R2D2 and C3PO trying to get to the shuttle,
Yeah.
and you just keep getting blocked up by action, so you have to move this way and then move that
I
way,
would do
and
that.
like
I would play that. Take my money.
let's get an old school Centipede like game, but it's like with Star
Centipede?
Wars. And yeah, you get
Wow,
like
you really
and
bringing
you
it
get
back
like
here.
you have your X wing or you get your A wing or something. You have to be like pew 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 pew. And then you
And it could be the asteroid field.
Yeah.
And it could be the space slugs. Dang it. You made it work.
See?
You made it work, not me.
Woohoo!
It was all your idea. All right.
Disney.
Oh yeah, we got to do that one last time.
Yeah, we'll
next
do it.
week.
We'll do it next week.
We had to do it like
All
one
about
strong.
it.
Oh,
We'll do a strong one.
Guys, I'm crying inside for the next week.
Don't worry, you're
Just want y'all to know.
gonna cry inside too, inside and outside USA. So just in case you joined us late, we regret to inform you that next week will be the last episode of Jedi Alliance in its current form. The three of us are going to be moving on to bigger and better things, so it will be up to the studio if they want to continue it. But I'm trying to get into. Well, I'm not trying. I am getting into touch with some of the folks that have come before that have become one with the Force. Try to see if we can communicate with them through some sort of force. I buried my lead by saying force 2 times. But yes, next week it will be a retrospective. We're going to talk about the show as it is, and we want your favorite memories. If you're listening to this on iTunes, send us a quick 30-second audio clip. Send us a video on Twitter, on Facebook. Yeah, it's been a heck of a ride, and this was a whole bunch of news to talk about, and I'm absolutely enthralled by the time that I have spent with the two of you. This show has been so much fun, and we're gonna cry more next week.
Yeah,
But
next week we'll cry.
Next week we'll have time to cry, but
Right
for now,
thuggish.
but
Right now,
Thuggish.
but while we're thugging and bugging, why don't we tell the folks what we're going to be up to until next week? Alexis, I know you will not be joining us next week.
But I will send a video. Hold on. I know that everyone's going to lose their mind, so let me explain. So
It's a very important reason.
next week, the reason
Sprung
I
a
will not
lot
be
on
here
you.
for our last show is because my husband and I will be on our honeymoon and we don't come back till next Tuesday.
I'll allow
But
it.
don't worry, I know that thank you. We're gonna be in Hawaii, so that's the reason why we won't be here. But the great thing is, Neil and I, which you know that he usually engineers the show, we're gonna do a video of our favorite moments from the show, our favorite moments from Star Wars, and our huge thank yous to everybody. You two know how much I love you guys, and you know how much I love you. Again, I'm gonna say it again. There'll probably be tears, and Neil will probably have to talk at one point because I'll be like, and just like terrible. But you guys can find me again all over social media, Instagram, Twitter, and definitely give me more Star Wars talk all the time on all of the things at atorres890.
Thank you, Alexis. Thank you for everything. I'm so happy that you got to be a part of the show.
I love this show, and I love you guys.
And ever since you were the first person to bring me in when I first started as an engineer, and the first May the 4th that I got to celebrate with this show was so much fun.
That was awesome.
With us in the booth and everybody that was out, all of the Schmoes, Scrimshaw, Frankie Kazarian, like a lot of wonderful guests that have come through these doors.
With our that's
no moons.
Yeah,
Yep.
Blue
That
Moon.
was so much fun. And it was even though that we had a previous history from our last employment, you really helped bring me into the space and be comfortable in that area and be like, oh, I can be a big Star Wars nerd here. And that was thanks to you and of course to Master Ken. But we're gonna be doing some more thanking next week. I just wanted to make sure that you were here when I said that because you're the best and I love you, girl.
All right.
Do this now.
Okay.
I gotta do this
hold
now
on.
because you're here.
All right, since you're here, because you're not going to be here next week,
Michael, no!
we have to do. All right, first we have to do money. We
We gotta do it. We gotta do it.
money.
One more.
So, money.
So loud.
And then you and I, unlimited power, because you know you're not going to be here.
Yeah, that's
So
like
you
our
ready?
favorite thing. Okay.
All right, 1, 2, 3. Unlimited power.
Oh, I really wish I had.
Wait, does that make me Mace Windu in this situation?
Yes.
Yeah, well,
What a weird role reversal.
I'm
Anyway,
enjoying it.
well, we usually only have unlimited power when you're not here.
Yeah,
So it's like,
Oh.
that's why we do it.
I was like, why is this happening?
because when you're not here, then it's like unlimited
Limited
power.
Oh, I get
We
it.
do it all, because that was good stuff. I forgot about
man.
those days. Those
Y'all
were
are
good
wonderful.
times.
We're gonna, but Michael, Twitter and such, where they can find you in the meantime.
You can find, hey man, you can find me online, One Youngster, ONEYOUNGST. Tonight doing the strain on AfterBuzz, Hate Zach with me, and during the week you can find me on YouTube, Nerd Soul, NERDSOUL, one word. Just search it up and you'll find me there.
And I'm the internet's Mark Donica. You can find me on Twitter at Mark B. Donica. We're going to be posting more updates and such on the Twitter account, Jedi Alliance Pod, which I'm going to keep up for the time being. And I'm going to reach out to Ken and Joseph and John and Maud and anybody who's willing to give a good farewell to the show. We're going to talk more about it next week. But for now, thank you for joining us on this episode of Jedi Alliance, because many Bothans died to bring us this information.
Bye, y'all.
Farewell for the moment.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.